Next slide, please.
The slide is visible, first one?
Yeah, it's visible. It's visible. You can go ahead, madam. Go to the previous slide. About CCC, Consultants Consortium of Chennai, is an association of management system consultants registered under the Tamil Nadu Societies Registration Act 1975. The key objective of CCC is to work in alignment with the National Quality Mission launched by the Government of India by educating the industry about the role and importance of the standards, certifications and regulations in the country as well as in the global markets. So CCC strives to encourage responsible consulting through members of its association, and focus is to standardize consulting practices in alignment with the changing market and industry needs in a dynamic manner. The focus is also to identify areas and industries in which the consultants in the profession of management systems consulting can contribute to the betterment of the society and the country, and to promote management systems consulting in such areas or industries. One of the core objectives is to elaborate with various industry platforms, trade associations, chamber of commerce, management associations, apex bodies of government or quasi-government organization to contribute to the betterment of the industry initiatives, which will in turn contribute to the betterment of the society. About World Accreditation Day 2020, WAD is a global initiative established by ILAC and IAF. This year's theme is how accreditation improves food safety. Accreditation has an important role in food safety by ensuring competent and impartial inspection, certification and testing services in all parts of local, national and international food chains. In doing so, accreditation supports the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, in particular the Good Health and the Well-being Goal, SDG 3. Accreditation can be applied to a variety of assessment, approval or evaluation tasks and is used by business, government and regulators to help deliver a safer world. Next one. So, Quality Council of TCB, Training and Capacity Building Division, comes under NBQP, which is part of Quality Council of India and is involved in training and capacity building, and it's a key training domain. Next slide, please. Yeah, over to today's presenters, Srimati Sonia Sahni and Shri Yogesh Jain ji. Over to you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yeah, very good evening and welcome all everybody here who has joined this session. Starting with my brief introduction, I'm Sonia Sahani, by education a food technologist and postgraduate MBA in HRD, having total 24 years experience in food sector, 12 years in industries in different dairies and you can say some cereal industries. And from last 12 years, I'm in this field of management system consultancies, auditing and training. Lead auditor for many management systems, but specifically my area of interest is food safety. So I'm also QCI NBQP and APIDA approved FSMS consultant and associated with FSSI as a FOSTEC trainer or national resource person. Today with me, I'm having Mr. Yogesh Jain, who is there as a co-presenter or a moderator for supporting during this session. I would request Mr. Yogesh to please himself.
Good evening. Thank you, madam. I am Yogesh Jain. I operate from Indore. I am an engineer, did my MS in consultancy management from BITS Pilani, and then I did my MTech also. I have total 27 years of experience, of which 4 years in industry and 23 years in management system consulting. In food, I have done assignments for FSSC, BRC, packaging, besides various classical ISO related assignments. I've done assignments in dairy, brewery, distillery, soybean plants, flour mill, spice processing, FIBC packaging and animal feed. Thank you.
Thank you, Yogesh. Now coming directly to our today's topic, that is related to allergen management, basically food allergen management. Now, this topic is very important in itself because you see that there is significant increase in food allergy incidents in the past few years. And these food allergies are becoming important public health concern and a major food safety issue globally. Not only in India, globally, it is a very important food safety issue. Nowadays, these public health systems, food safety authorities, food industries, they can play a major role in helping the individuals with certain food allergies and avoid the exposure to those foods. So for considering these important aspects, the main things which we are going to cover today are is about what is allergy, what is food allergy, what are the different food allergens, why it is so important for food industry, how we can manage it well, who all are responsible, what are the policies and practices required in the industry to manage this allergen issue. Now, I would recommend that whatever information I want to share with you people, I'll complete that part of the session first. Then at the end, we will have the question answer round. So in the timing, if you have any questions, anything, you can just note it down or put in the chat so that once we complete it, we can come and discuss a particular question. You can ask your questions at the end of the session, but I can ask in between also. For them, you can answer me at the end. But in between, if I have any query just to check your awareness level, I can also ask the questions. Now, first very important thing is what is allergy? Okay, so it is considered as a immune system issue. So it is a reaction of immune system to a normally harmless substance. Why harmless substance? Because this harmless substance is harmless for everybody except for those people who have allergy to that particular item or that particular food. So this harmless substance otherwise is not hazardous. Okay, this is actually a protein part of that food which creates these reactions by the immune system. And that harmless substance is called as allergen, which cause these immediate allergic reaction in a susceptible person. That is called as allergen. And food allergy is that serious reaction or response by our immune system to eating that particular food item or coming in contact even with this very small quantity or coming in contact with that particular food or food additive. And believe me, as a person, if we don't have any allergy to any food, this thing, we may not understand it so well. Because we generally think as a general public, okay, we see some people, they are very, conscious about eating, they are very choosy. So I think these people are very choosy. There are a lot of nakras in eating food and all this. But the person who is actually having the allergy or actually having some intolerance to particular food may get very severe symptoms. So if they are, over cautious for that, that is good if you think on their part. Okay, so that way allergy is a very important, we take it as a very important food safety concern. Though it is not created by or it's not developed by the some hazard or you can say physical, chemical, biology, but a harmless substance which is harmful for a particular product and how which is harmful for a particular individual and how it develops, that is also very important to understand. Now, a particular food. Now, as I told you, this harmless substance is protein in nature. It is protein of food. So our immune system takes that protein as a danger, as a hazard. You can say they overreact. They overreact seeing that, oh, some danger is coming into our body. So they start creating antibodies against it. And in the process of creating antibodies, they release one chemical which we call as a histamine. That histamine is majorly responsible for creating those reactions. Those reactions may be in the respiratory system, in the GI tract, in the skin, cardio, varies from individual to individual. It may vary from mild symptom to a very extreme symptoms, which can be fatal. Now, related to allergy, food allergy, there is a very important term which we generally use, that is food intolerance. From layman's point of view or a general public point of view, we generally take it as same. But definitely they both are different. Some of their symptoms might be common, but food intolerance is not same as the food allergy. Those symptoms may be similar, but it is a digestive system response, while food allergy is an immune system response. So digestive system response means some particular food our body is not able to digest, in simple words. We are not going into the, physiology and details of this, but overall understanding is required. That person is unable to digest particular food or not able to break down that food, because we know in our digestive system, in our digestion, food is further broken down. So that particular activity person is lacking for that particular food. So they develop the food intolerance. And the various examples which are there related to food intolerance is like related to milk, we have lactose intolerance, gluten intolerance. So in that case, lactose intolerance, a particular person who is having that intolerance, they don't have enzyme called lactase, which digest the lactose of the milk. That is why we also call it as a lactose intolerance. Similarly, now if we talk about the food allergy related to milk, in the case of food allergy, it is a protein casein which is responsible for it. Our immune system responds against the casein. But in case of lactose intolerance, it is the lactase which is not there and we are not able to digest that particular food. Okay, there are various examples related to this, but we should understand the basic difference of food intolerance and allergy. That allergy is related to the immune system reactions and intolerance is related to the digestive system reaction. And together both food allergies and food intolerances, they give the term food hypersensitivity. Means food hypersensitivity refers to both food allergies and food intolerance. But if you see the controls related to that, specifically the people who are involved in the manufacturing of food, okay, controls related to both the issues is same for them. Okay, so that is only for our understanding. Even if we can develop anything, so we should able to distinguish, or with the help of doctor we should be able to distinguish that what exact problem is with us. So different food allergens, there are total 14 globally, 14 food allergens which have been identified, like gluten, lupin, celery, crustaceans, milk, sulfur dioxide, especially if in high doses there, sesame seeds, mollusk, mustard, tree nuts, egg, fish, soya bean, peanut. So these are total 14 identified food allergens globally. In India, as per FSSAI, because FSSAI follows the FSSAI standards are actually based on Codex standards. So Codex have identified common allergens, which are these milk, eggs, peanut, soya, wheat, peanuts, fish, shellfish, again it is mollusk. So these are the common 8 allergens which are recommended or which are given by listed by the FSSAI. Otherwise, globally we take 14 food allergens. Any FBO who is into export or into the domestic sale, it's good if they consider all those 14 and take appropriate actions against that. Please mute your audio. Okay, now symptoms of allergy, again it varies from individual to individual also, but the common symptoms are these only, like sneezing, skin rashes, vomiting, fever, eye irritation, headache. So these are the common symptoms of allergies. Now, why this food allergy part is very important to the food industry? First of all, as I told you earlier also, the incidence of food allergies, they are increasing day by day. And sometimes they become life-threatening. And the biggest problem is that there is no cure for this. There is no medicine. Short-term, medication can be there to control the symptoms, but permanent, there is no cure for this. The only control or the major control, especially by the consumer point of view, is to avoid that food. But the problem occurs, he can avoid the food, he knows that this thing is having this food allergen to which I am allergic to. But the problem comes when there are some hidden ingredients. They are eating some formulated foods where ingredients are not communicated or not clear to them. So in that case, this becomes more severe. So a proper awareness, education, and communication with the consumer is an important part in the allergen management to improve their quality of life, because otherwise they are not able to eat a lot of foods which are related to that allergen. So proper information to them is very important to maintain their life quality. So in allergen management, if we see from FBO point of view, from industry point of view, who all are having responsibilities? So first, primemost responsibility is of food company who is manufacturing that. Food company means a management role. Management is very important. They have to decide how they will go about it. Then comes the responsibility of the food handlers, because whatever policies and practices management will make or develop, unless until people who are handling the food or manufacturing the food at a ground level will not follow that, this will be of no effect or no advantage. And the least but not the least, consumer himself is responsible to make the proper choices. He should know about his own allergies, about his own food habit, and accordingly, he has the responsibility in managing the allergens. So, key responsibility of any FBO, food business operator, in allergen management. First, prime responsibility is everybody's to provide safe, wholesome food. And related to allergen, the most important thing is to provide proper information of the product to allow the consumer to make informed. So that communication of proper information is a very important responsibility of FBO. Now, the ways through which they can communicate, they have to identify, because it may vary from industry to industry. For manufacturing, still it is easy. They have the packaged food, they have labeling things. For catering, for hotel, they don't have some labeling kind of system. So they also have to communicate. So the ways they communicate with the consumer is very important. And how they deal with it, that is their part. Now, these are the basic controls which are required under allergen management. So any product with allergen and without proper information doesn't reach to the person who is allergic to that particular food item. So first thing in that is that organization should have an allergen policy and a proper program how they are going to manage this issue. Then risk assessment of their all processes, their materials, that where all there is a risk of allergen cross contamination or cross contact to the product. Then designing of their equipment. Formulation control. Formulation control means they should have a standardized recipes so that they can do labeling accordingly. They do manufacturing and make SOPs accordingly. Then comes ingredient management. So ingredient management starts with the purchasing. From purchasing till receiving, what are the controls which are required, then comes to the storage, then issuing to the production. So all these things comes under the raw material management, or you can say ingredient management. Then process controls. Process control again is related to the main processes or the manufacturing steps which we are taking for the product manufacturing. Next, the packaging management, which take care of your labeling. That is the main part where we are communicating about our product with the end user or the consumer. And last, again but not the least, it above all will be properly followed if the person or the employees who are doing these activities, they are fully trained on that. So it should actually start with the employee training. After policy, it should start with the employee training. So allergen management success very much dependent on employee training. Now these are the basic controls which are actually required in any FBO who are making or dealing with any or handling any kind of food product. Now the strictness with which they need to apply it varies with the type of product and the type of plants they are having. Okay, effort they need to put in each control, they have to decide based on the type of products they are manufacturing or type of plant they are having. For example, we have some plant, okay, they are making many kind of products, different products. So they are into making of ketchup, they are into making of sauces. They are also into making of ready to eat product. So these two type of products are totally different processes. Okay, so they may have different sections for these kind of products, but they may have the common storage facility. So there the control of ingredient management is more important rather than process control, because they have totally different segregated areas for production. RT, ready to eat products, retort packed products are totally different process line than a products who are into these jams, sauces, ketchup. So all these things have different. Another kind of plant where they have 4-5 kinds of products. Okay, some products are with those allergens, food allergens, and some are without food allergens, and they are making under same roof. So they, in that particular case, all of these controls are very important. So everywhere we have to manage the allergen, starting from receiving till the dispatch. because they are making under one roof or under common area. So in that, controls or severity could be higher. So in that, controls would be more stricter. Similarly, there are industries where they are, just now in the second case, as I given the example, there you can take an example of namkeen manufacturing. So they are making n number of varieties. So some are with nuts, some are with peanuts, some are without this, like aloo bhujia, they don't have any. So different varieties are produced under same roof. So in that particular case, controls needs to be more stricter. Similarly, we have industries where they have single raw material, one or two raw materials, and they are making product out of it. Okay, and that raw material might be belonging to allergen group, like dairies, milk industry. We have raw material as milk, finished product, milk-based product. So we are dealing with that particular allergen milk. Okay, so in that case, some controls are not required because everywhere we are using milk. Same is the example of flour mills. They are making flour of wheat. Okay, every product like semolina or flour and all these things, they are made of wheat. So they are only dealing with a one kind of raw material. So there the controls might not be that strict. So depending upon the type of industry, depending upon the type of products you are making and the processes you are following, you have to decide on the controls. Okay, now my question with you, you can answer me at the end of the session. Sorry, at the end of the session, an industry who is into manufacturing of some product where they are not dealing with any allergen item out of those 14 allergens what we discussed in the previous slides, they're not using any of it. Like an example of a rice mill. Rice is not a part of a food allergen. So in that case, what do you think? Is allergen policies or allergen management systems are not applicable? You can answer me later when we will have a discussion. In between, if you switch on the audio, the whole bandwidth also gets affected. So you can give the answer in the chat box also. So my question, I'm throwing a question to you. If any industry not dealing with any allergen raw material or allergen material, are they not applicable for having this allergen policy and allergen management practices and things? Okay. Now we'll go into a little more detail of these specific controls to have a better understanding on them. So what are the important components of allergen policy? First of all, we should, in the allergen policy, we should address what are the legal laws related to that. Then identification of allergen hazards in the plant, how we can minimize them. So we have to identify what all allergens we are dealing with, how we are avoiding the cross contact. Then we need to include in the policy on labeling, precautionary statements, how we will train the people on the allergen management. And we also address the risk assessment of processes, materials, equipment, again related to the allergens. So this is a basic allergen policy which should cover all these components. So any company who is dealing in allergens or following the allergen management thing, their work starts with the allergen policy. Whether they're ISO or no ISO doesn't matter. It is for the safety of your own consumers. Okay, so don't rely, okay, if we'll take ISO, we'll start making this. This allergen policy or allergen management is a very important issue from customer point of view. Okay. Then important aspect is this part is generally taken when we are setting a new plant or a new line. Our system design should or engineering design should be such that we should have a proper access for the regular cleanings, regular inspections, especially the points where we are adding the allergens, they should be segregated. Now, whatever controls we are discussing, I will suggest all of you to keep in mind the example of the industry, what we discussed earlier, where we are dealing with the allergens and we are making multiple products, few with allergens, few without allergens under same roof. Then you will be able to correlate in a better way these controls. Okay, so allergen addition point should be isolated from the other raw material addition point. Dedicated rework systems. Okay, again, rework of allergen item should go in that only. So we have to have a segregated, dedicated rework system. Then there should be elimination of crossovers where there should be a lot of overlapping of the work. Plus, product containment point. Containment point means proper storage points where we are keeping lot of rework or lot of intermediate products together. So our design should incorporate these things that we can maintain those segregation. Then definitely if we can have dedicated production system for allergen items and non-allergen separate process lines, nothing like that. Okay, so if we don't have that facility, we stress more on cleanings between different production runs. Or if a proper or thorough cleaning is not possible, then in that case, it is good to install the parallel or separate lines, which if they are not properly cleanable. Then important thing is formulation controls. This is also very important, especially for the small industries. There should not be unapproved changes to formulation. Okay, one recipe or one formulation you have standardized. Just take an example of namkeen industry. Okay, operator is staff enough, smart enough. What he has done today, there's no kaju in the or cashews in the stock. So nothing doesn't matter. We'll add some groundnuts in this. Consumer will not able to judge it. He might not able to judge it, but the person who is allergic to peanuts will definitely judge it through his symptoms. Okay, so we should not, change the recipes or formulations unnecessary. And especially if you are doing it, especially unauthorized people who don't have fully awareness should not be authorized to do these kind of activities. Then always use, this is especially these kind of trainings you have to give the food handlers. They should use the approved latest standardized formula. And they follow all SOPs related to weighing, that scaling and use. So first of all, we need to document that policy. Then we need to make the SOPs for every activity related to allergen, and we need to give training so that they can start following these SOPs. So that formulation control is also an important part in allergen management. Then comes to ingredient management, which is the most important part. It starts from, as I told you, starts from purchasing. Then we should purchase from approved supplier. Approved supplier means we have trust in our suppliers. We have verified or evaluated those suppliers on some terms. And we have that trust that, okay, whatever material he will supply, he will not do any kind of mislabeling. He will communicate us about all hazards or all allergens related to the raw materials. Okay, so we should purchase from approved supplier. They should use approved ingredient, which should not be banned or restricted in any way. Then very important, we should assess. We may take good controls in our manufacturing, but to assess allergens in raw material also is a very important part, because this might not be a big issue in a manufacturing industry making 2 or 3 products. They know they are using 1 or 2 raw materials with these things. This is very important for a catering industry. If you see, they are using, n number of raw materials, all packed, processed foods. They don't know even what is there in that raw material. For them, allergen management is really a challenge for a hotel industry, for a catering industry, who are making 400 types of products. So in that case, you can compare it with the manufacturing industry who are making 100 products and almost using all allergens. They're using fish, they're using nuts, they're using obviously milk and wheat, flour, everything they are using. So they have to assess the allergens in raw material as well. Only process control within your organization will not work. Okay, and if possible, one should, especially if you're buying the processed or packed foods where they are using a lot of ingredients, you need to check your suppliers also, whether they are following that allergen policies or not. Because unless until they will follow, it may bring lapse in your industry also. And in your questionnaires, always ask questions about allergens. If you are doing some evaluation on the basis of questionnaires or something, always ask these allergen questions. Definitely any changes to ingredient specification, be active, ask them to communicate you so that you can always update yourself or your assessment of allergens. Similarly, source of contamination from other raw materials, then labels. Now, one thing generally happens that we have made a system, we know that my packed or processed raw materials contain these allergens, and we have finalized those. But many times it can happen that even my supplier has changed the formulation. They have changed the formulation and added, for example, in some product they have started adding milk powder. Earlier it was not there. And we are assuming, okay, we know this product doesn't contain any allergen and we have not, and he should communicate to you at the initial phase, but he might not communicate you. So in that case, your assessment again goes waste. So as a store person or a store people, they should keep reviewing or keep checking the labels also of incoming raw material. Because generally in most of the industries, in hotels, catering, we always tell them to check the expiry date. We always check them manufacturing date, batch numbers. So with that only, they can always check the allergen declaration or to see any changes in the ingredient. And if you have a good supplier control system in your organization, your supplier automatically will tell you. So anyway, you have to handle this kind of situation for any changes. Then again, coming to the ones, the material received, you need to segregate them on the basis of allergen and non-allergen. So the best way is to store them separately in a segregated area, or a physical segregation can be done, or a distance segregation can be done. Still, if you don't have any much area for the storage or all these kind, but never practice to store the allergen over non-allergen. You can dedicate one small area and you can keep allergen like related to milk product raw material, you can keep at one place over each other. That is still okay. But never keep allergen and non-allergens one over the other. Similarly, proper identification of allergens, bright proper identification. So by even a trained person, don't think that my people are trained. Even a trained person can do mistakes. Okay, so your proper identification, clearly called out those materials which are belong to allergen group and store them properly. Then proper cleanup process. Now every organization has some cleaning system. If we are dealing in allergen, we have to go one step ahead of our cleaning system. So we need to document our procedures and when we need to do the cleaning, especially to handle the allergen system. Then try to use dedicated pallets, containers, and then use dedicated container. This is for allergen, this is for non-allergen. Again, if you're using the common things, you have to have a thorough washing or cleaning in between. So either way you can go, but based on the type of products you're handling, your application should be that much strict. Now coming to the process control. Process control again, what are the controls we are following during the production or during the processing of the product? The foremost thing is your sequencing. As I told you, the example, if we have two kind of different products with a different process line, different section, it is still easy. But under same roof, if we are making, we have one or two lines, we may not have different lines for 5 types of products. We are using the same line for the allergen raw material products and non-allergen. So it is always recommended that produce allergen containing products at the end of the production, at the end of the sequence. Okay, so that is called your sequencing of production. And in that sequence also try to take longer run times. So it all depends upon your plan. Take longer product run times, minimize changeover. Don't, okay, let's start with they started with the non-allergen, then allergen, then again some plan come, then non-allergen, then 5 times changes in the day. So definitely you need to do a lot of cleaning, extra efforts for cleaning, extra cost for cleaning. So lot of losses also will be there. So it's good to sequence it accordingly, plan it accordingly so that you have a longer run time, one day full allergen, one day non-allergen if it is possible. Now it depends upon the type of products. Then again, in between the 2 runs, you have to have a proper time availability between the cleanup. We cannot afford to do the formality of cleaning. We need to do the thorough cleaning in between the different runs. Then proper packaging, correct packaging is very important because again by mistake, by untrained people, there might be issues or mistakes of incorrect packaging going into the, especially it can happen in the industries where they are making similar kind of products. Like we discussed the example of namkeen. So namkeens all are more or less same. The packaging is also more or less same. There is little difference in the ingredient list or color or something. So there is chance of this kind of mistakes. So we have to confirm those things. Some checks needs to be there. Then especially if allergen items are under production, we try to minimize the traffic patterns of raw materials, lot of movement of people and packaging and raw materials which are not of non-allergen from that area should be avoided because it may lead to the cross contact. Then, as we discussed, dedicated equipment and containers are always beneficial. Still, if you have the issue, you need to do a thorough, adequate sanitation and cleaning. And another issue, maybe we are not dealing with the allergen directly in that particular line, but we are doing some kind of research and development activities. So if we are doing some kind of testings and trials on production lines, and that production trials includes the allergen item, then thorough sanitization is required. So that policy actually is to, incorporate into the mind of every person who is involved in this food handling. Then declare allergens not only in the finished product, definitely ingredients or allergen declaration we are doing in the finished product, as it's a legal requirement as well, but for all products within the organization, maybe it is rework, intermediate products, raw materials, all need to be labeled as per the allergen also. Same thing what we discussed is applicable to your rework part. Again, because this is a weak or you can say dicey area in organization. Many times, many kinds of rework are not even traceable. Many organizations mix 2 or 3 types together and they decide, okay, we'll put it at the dough making or some area at the beginning. But in that case also, for allergen, we need to maintain some kind of segregation. Segregation by proper labeling, dedicated feeding systems for rework, again for allergens and non-allergens, proper instructions of use. Because though you have given the training, but still there might be lapses or labor may forget those things. So it is good if you provide them with a proper operator instructions and display those. And regularly audit your rework. So you can check, okay, some rework should not go by mistake to some other material. So those regular checks needs to be done by a supervisor or some authorized person. And immediately, in case of any misuse of rework, it should be promptly communicated to the management. Again, this is important part in case of allergen. Then comes your packaging management. Now, packaging management covers our labeling. Basically, for allergen, we are more concerned with the labeling. So, related to allergen, it should have the ingredient list, instructions for use, because again, that may lead to some hazard, proper warnings, any related information. Then accurate labeling is required because it is a legal requirement of FSSAI as well. In the packaging management, another important part is managing the inventory of packaging. Okay, you have ordered 1 lakh pouches, used 50,000, formulation has been changed. Okay, now what to do with those 50,000? Okay, let it be in every further lot, we will use few quantities. And now you have added in your recipe or formulation some nuts, which was not there earlier. This is all inadequate awareness. Okay, nothing happens, it's only the nuts which is not mentioned. Now we can use these kind of packaging. So those things again may lead you to the fraud. It will come under label misinterpretation or mislabeling fraud. Okay, so we have to take care of the excess packaging inventory. Again, to ensure no mixed cartons or mixed packaging between allergen and non-allergen. Specifically, if we are using we are doing some kind of outsourced packaging and outsourced processing. So in that case, we have to take care in the co-packer area also. Okay, and it's very important knowingly selling a product with undeclared allergen can be interpreted as a criminal offense in case of illness or fraud. Oh, so this is actually as per the labeling requirement if you follow. Otherwise, it will consider as a criminal offense.
And a little faster. We are approaching time.
Yeah, we are near to end. No worries. Okay, so label specifically related to allergen, it should be consistent, it should be properly legible in a normal English language, and it is specified also that necessary detail like sunflower oil should be mentioned rather than a vegetable oil so that consumer knows exactly whether it is safe for him or not. And we try to avoid precautionary labeling such as may contain words. To be specific. Yes. Am I audible? Yes, yes, I'm not able to hear you. What are you saying? Shall I continue?
Continue, madam, continue. Please continue.
So we were talking about this labeling. Now these 14 allergens, again, as I told you earlier, in manufacturing industry, in a packed food, still we have the opportunity to label it on the in the ingredient list on labeling. But in case of this catering, hotels, all these hospitality industry, they should also identify the ways they should label it on menus, or they can put the signs in the buffet system or something. So they also have to identify a way how to communicate the allergen related information to their consumers. So that is a very important part, and that is the most, you can say, that is the most risky, or the type of industry where management of allergen is it really a tough job, I must say that. So for especially kitchens, we always try that they should be cooked separately, because there is a risk of cross contamination and contact. Storage, again, because they are using small quantities. Okay, big quantities still dedicated areas, but they are using small quantities, so they cannot have separate area for all allergens. They are using all 14 types of allergen, and they are using different types of ingredient. So for them, they have to dedicate, okay, this allergen related items we can store in this color box. Okay, they might be together, but they should be properly closed and sealed after use. Similarly, they need to use the separate oil for frying, cooking, for the allergen and non-allergen. So these controls are actually very much required. Okay, and again, how they declare, they may not be using labels, but they need to declare either through menu or through the direct communication with the consumer. Then again, we have already discussed related to cleaning practices. Now adequate, strict cleaning practices required, because everywhere those segregations may not be able to maintain. So there should be adequate cleaning between run. There should be facility to properly disassemble the lines, manually clean the equipment. Then if we have difficulty in cleaning a particular equipment or a machinery or a line, it is then, in that case, it is always recommended to have a dedicated equipment. Okay. Then comes these are all the activities or SOPs or systems to be developed by the FBO, by the company itself. Now the food handler, his responsibility comes, first of all, his responsibility is to follow all those practices and policies which we have discussed in previous slides, and they will be getting the training for this, assuming that. Okay, so they should not, first of all, they should use the approved ingredient. They should not change the recipes on their own. They can advise if they see any inefficiencies, or by other person is doing some kind of this kind of activity. They should not take decisions on their own. Always use rework in the product which it was originally produced. Again, they have to keep the labeling intact. They have to avoid the cross contamination. They have to keep washing their hands. Nowadays, so still it is easy because people are doing this activity. So wash hands regularly after handling non-allergens and even after eating. Then again, generally in a good industries, they keep the people also different, or at least the workwear different. So they have to keep their aprons and all clothing and workwear free of allergens. They should not wear allergen area aprons in the non-allergen. Again, to follow a thorough sanitization program, follow the work practices, ingredients to kept close, specified equipment, and they should have that, first of all, training. Then they should not be lazy in that, okay, who will go there and bring the particular equipment or utensil which is used for allergen. So they should be strict enough to follow these kind of guidelines. And the most important is that they should understand their responsibility and do the job as trained. And for this particular thing, training of food handler is very important. As we are discussing in training, similarly, you people down the level can give training in the local language. Put more displays related to the allergies, their effects, their causes, and their control. And finally, the responsibility of consumer is very important, because he is the one who has to make the choice. He should report immediately any non-conformity if they found in labeling of any food product. They can educate their family, they can educate other consumers, and based on the information they get, they can take the proper decisions of their food. So very important, don't assume, this is for all of us, don't assume all people can eat all foods. Okay, and whatever is my job, either I'm a food handler or a management or a quality or anyone, buddy, do your job as trained. Don't make decisions on the behalf of consumer. Okay, this will be good for consumer. You cannot take that decision. Do not cross contaminate. And very important, properly label all food. That's a way of communication to your consumer. So very important, you have to be concerned and allergy aware. So this was a small part of controls related to allergen about the food allergy. Now we can have your questions. Let me check the chat. And anybody, any question, he can just switch on his own audio and we can discuss it further.
Thanks a lot, madam. I think a lot of questions, a few of them that came must have already been covered under the training. Some Appaji Raos have also answered.
Okay.
If still some questions are there, they are welcome.
Yes, I want to see that, what all they are asking. Where is my chat?
One is pertaining to applicable mandatory PRP, about which you told about, clothes to be separate, workwear to be separate, then dining hall to be away from production area so that there is no cross contamination from worker dining.
I have put that question, that if a company, and this question is not from consultants or other trainers, please. This question is from the industry people. If you are not dealing with any allergen item, any food allergens, is the food allergen management or allergen policy is not applicable to you, or it is applicable?
It
Yes.
is applicable. I would like Madam Sonia to elaborate it further.
But I am asking for the people who are from industry, what they think about it.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you again, Sonia, please? Can you ask the question again?
I am asking those people, industry people, that if they are not dealing in any kind of food allergens out of these 14 food allergens, so is this food allergen policy and allergen management controls are not required for them? Are they not applicable for them? What they think about it? And this is only from industry, not from trained people or expert people like you. Because I want to just see their awareness, because many times we find these kind of situations in the industry when we go for an audit or a consultancy. Yes, anybody from industry,